been a long time, it's been a long while, and it's very good to be back. Today I'm going to be showing us a tutorial as promised. You requested for it, you asked for it, and I just delivered. That's the video you're about to watch in a few seconds. But in this particular video, you're going to be learning how to make your bra cup, your bust cup yourself using your measurements. So you do not have to go over to get custom bra cups or commercial bra cups. You're building this bra cup or this breast cup from scratch by yourself. Once again, thank you and enjoy the video. So I'm going to be using this pattern. This is an already drafted pattern of my size. So this pattern already has like my 1 inch seam allowance. So I'm not going to be adding any more allowance on the pattern. This part. So I'm going to be beginning with the front panel first. This is the front block. This is the back block. So I'll be beginning with the front block. So I'll first of all determine length. So the length I'm going to be using is 22. For accuracy, I'm going to measure the points across so that I get like an accurate line. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So this is my chest line, bust line, this is my bust point, my waistline, this is my true length now. I'm not using this length again, this is my true length now. This is my bust line, this is my waistline, this is my true length. So we are assuming that there is nothing like this for the back. From the neck point, I'm going to mark my under bust length. From this point, my under bust length is 13.5. This is 13.5. First of all, I'm going to use a pencil to like a faint line. On the both sides, after marking my under bust length, I'm going to take 3/4 of an inch on both sides. 3/4 of an inch here, 3/4 of an inch here. Then I'm going to now link this point to this shoulder dart. So this is my bust point here. So this 3/4 of an inch on this side and 3/4 of an inch on this side, I'm going to link them to the breast point. I'm going to curve it to meet the breast point. I'm going to do the same on the second side as well. Next, I'm going to take this line from this point, I'm going to bring it here. I'm going to just cut out the length, but before I cut the length out, I'm just going to fold it down. Whenever I'm using a breast block, I usually don't use bust dart. That's usually at the side. So I'm going to remove this one out. I forgot to mention that we're supposed to form our cuff. From this side seam, I'm going to mark out my 1 inch seam allowance. I added 1 inch seam allowance to the sides. So from that 1 inch seam allowance, I'm going to go out by 1.5. This is for my bust. So if you did not put like a seam allowance on your block, you can just go ahead and mark your 1.5 or 1/3 from the seam line, knowing that later when you're cutting on your fabric, you're going to be adding the seam allowance. But for my case, I already added 1 inch seam allowance. So from that 1 inch seam allowance, I went out again by 1.5. I'm going to link from this point, this 1.5 that I just marked, I'm going to link it to my under bust. This under bust point, I'm going to link this one here. So I'm going to be using the deeper part of this curve to do that. So I'll make sure that it cuts across this bust line and it goes to touch the armhole line. Okay, so for the middle part as well, on this bust line, this second line, on this bust line, I'm going to go in by half of an inch. So I'm going to also connect from this half of an inch down to this under bust point, like this. So once I have done the cuffs, I'll just head over to cut this part that we don't need, the little one cut it here. I'm going to now fold the shoulder dart. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my pencil that's not so sharp right now. And then in this part, I'm going to go up by 1 inch. Went up by 1 inch from the chest, then I went up by 1 inch. I'm going to connect from this 1 inch to this point. So whenever I get an opportunity to make a corset cup for myself, I love it when I'm forming the cups myself. It gives me the privilege of having to cover all of my bust. I love it when my bust is covered. So this is what I'm going to have right now. Exactly on that point again, I'm going to mark out 1 inch. Just follow me at this point now. 1 inch is much. I'm going to mark 3/4 of an inch. So I mark 3/4 of an inch, then I mark 3/4 of an inch as well. Then I'll still link this line from here to go meet this 3/4 of an inch at this point. Same thing I did here. You're going to see in a minute why we have to do all of that. So the second line that we're making is the opening part after the corset, after the bust area, the small part that is open. So I'm going to loosen this. I'm going to remove the pin and further adjust it now. So this is the first line. So I'm still going to be making use of this line, the first line. So the first line, I'm going to go up by 3/4 of an inch on this line, on this first line, this line that links from this point, this curve that went upward. I'm going this line here. I'm going to be going up by 3/4 of an inch. Then on the left side, I'll go up by half of an inch. I'm going to blend in the new line. This is 3/4 of an inch. Blend it here. That line will not touch this line. This line as well. When I'm blending in, it's not going to touch the one up. And I'll do the same thing on this side. After making the point, I'm going to fold on this new point. I'm going to fold the shoulder darts on this new point. Draw the line again. This time with my marker, because right now I am sure of what it is that I want. So this is the new neckline that we're going to be making use of. So this second line as well, I'm also going to mark it out. Remember that this second line that I'm referring to in this video is going to be the yoke part. So I'll be cutting out all of that from the pattern. So we don't need this line anymore. So before I cut further, you can see the shape of our cup. So I'm going to be cutting it now. I'm going to be cutting on this new line. So this cup is going to be a little different from the style that we're trying to recreate, because this particular one covers every part of my bust, and that is what I love. So if you want your cup smaller than this, you can reduce the neckline. You can make it deeper than it is right now. I forgot to mention, I'm going to take out 1 inch. And the reason I'm taking out 1 inch, first of all, I'll take the 1 inch. Then I'm going to blend it to this point. I'm going to connect this 1 inch, the 1 inch to this point. I'll tell you why. This is because after forming your cup, it's not going to be so into the armhole. From the armhole, we went away by 1 inch so that we don't have our breast cup into the armholes. I have to finish this part. I've not finished cutting it. No. This is what we're going to have. So this is the first boning channel. The second boning channel will be here. So I'll just mark the other boning channel this way. This will be your second boning channel. Okay. If you like, you can just make like little dots, maybe like quarter of an inch here, quarter of an inch here, so that you have like the cinched effect. But mine, I really did not cinch it. I used my exact waist measurement. I used my 28 inches waist measurement, so there was no need for me to cinch it in any way. There was no need to snatch it in any way. But if you want to like make yours a little bit snatched, maybe you want to use an eyelet, you want to lace at the back, go ahead and take out at least quarter of an inch from here, quarter of an inch from here. That's half of an inch from this part. So I'm going to fold the first darts at this point, and then I'm going to redraw this line. So for the shoulder, I think I used 3.5. I used 3.5. So I'm going to connect it to this point. So this is the new yoke I'm going to be working with. So I'm just going to lay another piece underneath, tip it, and then I'm going to cut a new line. So I'll do the quarter of an inch thing. From here we have quarter of an inch. I'm also going to do a quarter of an inch here. Then quarter of an inch. So this is a new thing. So I'm just going to, these lines are so much, so I'm going to cut like a different one, like a new one without all of these lines running through them, and then I'll show you. If you are using a zigzag stitch, there is no need adding half of an inch seam allowance for the wording or the breast part that you're going to be using. You don't need to add like any seam allowance here. But if you are using a straight stitch to lay them both together this way, then you add half of an inch seam allowance here, half of an inch seam allowance all around. Seam allowance. If you like, you can cut this, but I didn't cut mine. But I think if you cut it, it's better, you know. You sew and then you iron it open, and then you just begin with your adding of your bonings and everything. So usually I like to curve this side a little, so I'll cut the same thing for the back as well. So usually I like to cut it before slashing, before opening any part. Okay. So for the back, we don't have so much to do for the back, except that I'll cut out this part that we don't need, the starting line. I'll just cut it out. I'm just going to shape on it underneath. So at the side seam part, I'm just going to mark 1 inch like we did for the front part, and then I'll just stick it here. So this one you don't need, there's nothing much to do in this one other than to just extend this dark line to the bust line. We need to cut for the back. We need to cut the back line. So the neck I use is not so wide. So I'm going to just mark the neck I use. I just mark 2.5 from the zip line, 2.5. So my apologies to have excluded the back neckline, which is also the yoke for the back piece. So I'm going to cut this. So for the body of the back, you're done with it. So this is like one body channel. If you have another body channel, it's just to this is the other body channel.